And then it was just a continued review of adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions. Today we're going to look at BEDMAS with fractions. So you've done BEDMAS already. Now we're just going to bring in fractions and make things that much more exciting. It's going to be great. So if you haven't got it out already, get it out. Here are the answers to the homework. Now, what I would like you guys to do, Dilkaran, is as we're going through the answers here, I don't want you just to write the answers to the questions that you haven't done yet. There is a way that you should do these things. If there was homework on here you didn't get done or you were away yesterday, Hayden, I would like you to move up a desk. Because I think, who did I move yesterday? I think I moved Gabe yesterday. So Oliver on Monday, should something be needed to be moved, it's your turn. You were away yesterday. It was Gabe I moved. No, he's not. No, do not call him. Leave your phones away. I don't want to see him. I have now hung up the phone hanger of shame because someone else in my other class pushed it one step too far. I do think I told you guys, someone's going to be the reason it got hung up. Hassan is the reason it got hung up. If you know him, if you're friends with him, you can be like, Hassan, what the heck? He'd be like, yeah, it was me. No, it's now up. I've been pushed. The group of 90 of you just finally pushed me over the edge.
What if somebody like Jackson?
Well, your phone shouldn't even be in there anyway, because it should be away.
They don't take the phones, they just take the hanger.
Well, and then there's going to be consequences. Just stop. So, if you're going to copy down the answers to something you haven't done already, what I would encourage you to do is to do it over here on the left. So you're leaving this space in the middle to actually go and do the things, making sure you can get to whatever answer is written here. So then for these guys, same thing. You just write your answers down the column here on the left so that as you get the answers, if you didn't do the questions, you now have a space to go and actually do the math. So here are the answers to those questions. Here are the first chunk. Compare what you got with what I got. Are there any comments, questions, concerns on any of these? I will happily do them if you make it known that that is necessary. I'll slide this up here so we can get the first 12 questions. There they are. First 12 questions. You tell me, is 3 1/3 different than 10/3? What is the difference between 3 1/3 and 10/3? Anybody? There is technically a difference. Sorry? I don't hear you, Ruben. Yeah, one of them has a whole number and a fraction, which makes it what kind of number? A mixed number, thank you, whoever said that. And the other one's improper. But they are equivalent. I put them both here because there's enough of you guys who will do one or the other, so I put both answers here. And you guys need to be able to go back and forth between these two. Is there any of these first 12 questions that anyone would like me to do?
Number 16.
Are there any of these first 12 questions, ones that are currently on the screen, that anyone would like me to do?
Number 13.
Okay, let's not on the screen. Are there any of these first 12 questions, the ones that are currently on the screen, that anyone would like me to do? One more time, and you're going to spend the rest of class out of here. Number 10? Okay, let's take a look at number 10. Hayden, did you do number 10?
I can't find the page now.
It's page 34. Okay, so Hayden doesn't need number 10 done. Hayden needs to do number 10. Anyone who's here is okay? We're good? No one? Yeah, I know. That's why, yeah, there you go. So there's 13, 14, 15, and 16. Who wanted Dilkaran? You wanted 16?
Yes.
Let's talk about 16. Now that you see the answers, you still want me to do it? Okay, let's do 16. Okay, Dilkaran, here we go. Did you try 16? Okay. So the first step, I guess not a rule, first step for any of these problems is, by my recommendation, is that if you have got anything mixed make it improper. So, do we have anything mixed? Go around. Is there a mixed number there? So let's make it improper. How do I take 1.5 and make it improper? And then? And you add it to the numerator. Okay. So it's going to give me 1 over negative 3 divided by, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3, and you leave the denominator alone. Okay, cool. Now that's done. What's my next step here? Dividing by fractions has a particular order. Yeah. You take the reciprocal of the second fraction. This one's going to become 2 over 3. When I do that, what else changes? Sorry? The sign, yeah, the sign becomes multiplication. So the division turns into multiplication. You take the reciprocal of the second fraction, and this stays here. And now we're just going to multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. 1 times 2 is 2. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. It doesn't matter where you put the minus sign. I always put it up in the numerator. Does that make sense? No worries. Okay, now that you've seen all 16, does anyone want me to do anything else? 16 questions, comments, questions, concerns on any of them. Did I tell you guys when your chapter test was going to be? Okay, I'm moving it. I'm moving it because I want to take some time to actually make sure we're good with the stuff that we're going to do next week, and I don't want to rush it all the way to Thursday. So, unfortunately, that means it's going to be after the 4-day weekend. Also, I'm going to give you a quiz on Monday. Great. This Monday you have school. We have a quiz. Actually, you have a quiz on Tuesday. I lied. Your quiz on Tuesday. Okay, so if there are no questions on that, bedmass with fractions, because we need the practice. So bedmass is bedmass. Bedmass has never changed. We're going to do a couple. I'm going to do 3 of these questions as examples. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to do 3 of them. Maybe I can be convinced to do all 4. We'll see how it goes. We have a short block today, so let's get this done. Other than dropping the minus signs, one of the biggest issues that I saw on the quiz you guys wrote for me a little while ago was that you guys, for whatever reason, were ignoring this whole left to rightness. Also, we weren't dividing and multiplying before we were adding and subtracting. Bedmass is the order that we have established as, again, I shouldn't say we, because you and I had nothing to do with it. People smarter than us got together and like, this is the way we do things because this is the way it makes sense mathematically. And so we do what they have said. Some of us are making up our own methods. I want to walk you through again how I want to see these questions done. We'll start with 2 that don't have fractions, and then we'll jump to 1 that does have fractions, and then I will release you to practice. Here we go. So, first one, I've got bracket 6 minus bracket 2 plus 6 bracket times 3. If I'm just going to read that as is. No dice? It's gone? Like, gone? Where was it?
At the office in the corner. I left it on the side pizza.
Did you check the lost and found?
Yeah.
Did you ask inside the office?
Yeah. And then asked Mr. McQueen because I signed it. Or I couldn't find Mr. McQueen.
You couldn't find Mr. McWhinney?
What, you lost your dice?
No, his
No,
binder.
Look at the dice.
Which I might have one last copy I can give you. If your binder really is gone.
Look in your bag again.
No, he left it down somewhere and someone walked away with it.
I had lost your binder for like 7 months.
Okay, again, even after I made a bunch more copies, my last one, again.
How?
Why? How? Because 90 of you, between the 90 of you, we keep losing these things. Or forgetting them and being like, I'm not going to bring it because Mr. Dawidoff has so many extra copies. I'm now out, again, of extra copies. Okay, so, bedmass, B stands for brackets. We want to start with the brackets. I have 2 sets. I got an outer set, and now I look inside. I got another set of brackets on the inside. So you go all the way in until you've got as inside as you can go, and now we start doing math. That first piece, and I want to show you how I want you to show me the work. So, that's the innermost bracket. 2 plus 3 is 8. So I've simplified what's inside those brackets. I'm going to leave that thing inside brackets just, in case there's a minus sign. And there's not, but I'm going to leave it there anyway. And I'm going to rewrite everything else outside as if, well, I haven't done anything with it. So as if it has been untouched, because it has been untouched. And now let's keep going. BEDMAS is brackets. There's nothing inside those brackets. We've done that already, so let's step out a sec. Outer brackets is 6 minus 8. 6 minus 8 is, it is not 2. It is negative 2. You're at 6 and you're going left 8. So you got to remember, we don't want to drop these minus signs. So now this whole mess on the inside here gets condensed down to 2. These outer brackets are these ones I have left written here. So now I've got negative 2, and I haven't multiplied it by 3 yet, so I'm just going to leave the multiply by 3 out. And now I've only got one last step here. Negative 2 times 3 is? Negative 6, someone said. Fantastic. So this was what your quiz was on. I'm hoping it's getting a little easier as we're doing corrections on these quizzes and taking the time to look at some of the oopses we've made. I'm going to change question 2. Here's what I want all y'all to do. I want you to change this multiplication into addition. Because this was one of the ones that I saw that was not super well done on the quiz. So I want to make sure we do one of these. Here we go. I've got negative 2 plus now negative 12 divided by bracket negative 2 minus minus 5. Close the bracket. So BEDMAS. BEDMAS starts with B. B stands for bracket. So I jump to the brackets and I said, okay, I got negative 2 and I'm subtracting negative 5. What do I do with that double negative there? When I'm subtracting a negative, what is that? Yeah, it makes it positive, or turns it into addition. Taking away something negative is going to make something more positive. So sometimes, just to show my work, I just extend those and create a big plus sign in there. My first step. And now I'm actually going to go ahead and do it. So negative 2 plus 5 is 3. I'm at negative 2. I'm moving up 5. I get to 3. I'm going to leave that in brackets. I'm going to write everything else as it was, because we haven't done any of it yet. Lots of you, everyone who made a mistake on this question on the quiz was fine up till this point. The next problem happened when you guys jumped to the next step. Brackets are done. There are no exponents. The next letter in BEDMAS is the letter D, and D stands for division. D does not stand for do the addition. D stands for division. Because a whole bunch of you on the quiz were like, ah yes, now I'm going to D, do this addition. No, bad. D stands for division. So this is the part we're going to look at now. Division comes first. So negative 12 divided by 3 is what? Yes. Thank you. Negative 4. So now let's rewrite this thing. I've got negative 2 plus negative 12 divided by 3 was negative 4. I want you guys to be really deliberate about showing your work. You don't have to do it this slowly because you're not going to be talking about it the whole time. But I want you to show me your work. Last step. What is negative 2 plus negative 4? Yes, Hayden. It would, in fact. If you're at somewhere negative and you're adding to it something more negative, you're going to get even more negative. There it is. You're done. I'm not going to do the third example. I'm going to reference the third example briefly. I just want to remind you with this example that when you have math in a numerator or math in a denominator, like there's stuff going on in there, to treat that whole numerator or whole denominator like it has brackets around there and start with that. I'm not going to do this question. I'm just going to say that about this question, and then I'm going to do one more here, and then I'm going to free you to work. Is that enough said there, or is anyone confused about what I've just done? Dilkron's giving me thumbs up. Is everyone giving me thumbs up inside their hearts and minds? Okay, fantastic. Some of you aren't even looking at the screen. Well, there's that too. Okay, last one. This is the only thing today that's going to become newish, and that is by adding in fractions to this mess. It's nothing. Ultimately, it's nothing new. You've done BEDMAS. We did BEDMAS a week ago. We've done adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions. We're just going to put it all together and make sure that we can do the steps in the right order. Because that's all this is. It's keeping your steps all lined up. So, BEDMAS, B-E-D-M-A-S, B stands for brackets. Do I have math in the brackets?
Yeah.
You betcha. What am I doing inside the brackets? I'm adding -6/5 and 2/3. Well, that's just lovely. Okay, so ignoring what's here, looking just at the fractions, I want to add those together. How do you add fractions? Basically, we're connecting all these rules together. Adding fractions, yeah. We have to find the same denominator. A way to do this is to take your two numbers, in this case it's 5 and 3, and look at all their multiples. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 3 goes 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. And we want to find a number in both columns. The same, yeah, who said 15? You betcha. Is that the only one? No, we could also pick 30, but that just makes your numbers bigger, and you want to avoid that if you can. So let's use the 15. The lowest common one will work, but any common one, lowest common one is best, but any common will work. So what I want to do is I want to take the numbers that are in here, and or these fractions rather, and I want to write them each with a denominator of 15. Well, how do I do that? So first of all, I'm going to write it like this. The -4 and the division, nothing's happened with. And I'm going to take these two fractions that I'm adding, and I want to put them both over 15. What do I have to do to this fraction to get 15 in the denominator? I multiply by 3. And whatever I do to the denominator, I have to also do to the numerator. So -6 times 13 is -18. Don't drop that minus sign. And over here, I'm going to multiply by 5, because we've already said here that 5 times 3, this one's going to be 3 times 5. And whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. So it's going to give me 10/15. Now we can go ahead and actually do this. What is -18 over 15 plus 10 over 15? It is not 8. For so many reasons, it's not 8. It's also not -8, but you're getting warmer. -8 is actually part of the answer. -8 over 15. -8 over 15. Yes, you did get one part right. Do you play sports, Raven?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What happens if you can only play offense and no one on your team can play defense? So you're still going to lose, right? Okay. So one part right is not enough, is the point that I'm trying to make. We want the whole part right. Okay, so now I've dealt with the addition of the fractions. Now I want to divide a whole number by a fraction. There are 3 things that need to happen here. What are they? They can happen. Yes, Cole. Yeah, I want to take that -4 and put it under over a 1. So now I've got fractions everywhere. That's great. What's the next thing that needs to happen? I'm going to draw an arrow because I'm running out of space. Let's go over here. I've still got -4 over 1. Yes, I see that hand. I flipped the 8 over 15, so it's going to be 15 over 8. You betcha, except almost. What have I done? What have I just modeled? I dropped the minus sign. This is where the mistakes are going to happen. It's just as quick as that. You said, oh yeah, 8 over 15 becomes 15 over 8, and I wrote down exactly what you said. Don't draw minus signs. And the whole point of yesterday was my trying to argue that it doesn't matter where you put them. Whether it's in the numerator, the denominator, or out front, it doesn't matter. So I want to encourage you to keep it consistent, leave the minus sign in the numerator, even when you do the flipping of the fractions, because they are equivalent. And so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to crank this sucker out. Before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of multiplying, is there anything we can do to make our life a little easier? Louder, Andrew. You were saying something else? Okay, never mind that. Yeah, Ness. Sorry? Yes, I can cross simplify. This is not cross multiplication. We're not doing that. This is cross simplification. It only works when you're multiplying. I saw someone in the other class try to do this when you were adding. Nope. Only works when you're multiplying, because we can multiply and divide in any order. So by doing this, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to divide -4 and 8 by the same thing. What can I divide these both by? 2, but a better number would be 4. 2 would work, but 2 doesn't take us all the way. 4 is divisible by 4, 8 is divisible by 4, so let's do that. -4 divided by 4 is? It's not 1, it's -1. We're still multiplying. The -15 is still in the numerator, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. And now we can multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. -1 times -15 is +15, and 1 times 2 is 2, and we're done. Some of you like to write these things as mixed numbers. I'm totally cool with that. So that 15/2 is a mixed number. Let's just review how to do that, because some of us have already forgotten. How do I take 15/2 and write it as a mixed number, Colt? So how many times is 2 going to 15? 7 times. Because 7 times 2 is 14, which leaves me with how much left over?
1.
Perfect. And the denominator stays the same. And that's it. Yeah, piece of cake. I hope this is pieces of cake. We have, can you give me literally 2 minutes to tell you what you're working on, and then I'll send you out of here. Not even 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Here's what I want you to do. There is 35 minutes left in the block. Over the next 35 minutes, what I want you to do is this. I want you to flip the page, and, Dilkaran, don't start talking. I want you guys, Rabin, shush, to do the odds. I want you to start with the odds, because how these questions get laid out is they start easy and then they get more difficult. So if you spend the next 35 minutes doing the first 6, 7 questions, you're going to be like, oh, this is simple. It's not all simple. I want you to start with the odds, and then if you manage to finish that, loop around and do the evens. But start with the odds. Now, one of the things that I'm working on with the other class, Hayden, is getting you guys out of your desks. I've been modeling this a fair bit. In fact, most of the writing on the boards are mine. I want to encourage you, use the space. Things like that board right there.
Oh, wow.
Great example. I have 2 guys up there. First block, I don't need a whole bunch of fake reactions. That board right there was 2 guys. This one maybe wasn't fake. I thought you were just making a big deal for the sake of making a big deal, because you like to be dramatic, right?
I don't.
Yes, you do. So that backboard was 2 students in my A block class. I'm pretty sure I got something over here to show you too.
Oh.
This one. I had a whole bunch of students. I don't make you guys very. I think I've only made you once. Get up to the whiteboards. We are going to start doing that a little bit more. But one of the things I want to encourage you with is being willing and able to get up and do this yourself. This side. The student who did this is the student who kind of started it all. This is a great way to do math. She sat on the ground here and just kind of did stuff, and it makes it really easy for me to actually come around and help. Because I stand back, I look, and she says, "Where have I made the mistake here?" And it's really easy for me to point out if her thinking is really clear, because it's all literally on the board. And then before she left class, the bell was about to go, she took a picture of it to save her work. You want chalky? Quran. If it doesn't belong to you, and you have not been invited to touch something in this class, don't touch it. So if he doesn't say, hey, put your hand in my pocket, don't put your hand in his pocket. And if he does, you should seriously question why he's asking you to put your hand in his pocket. Maybe you don't want to do it anyway. Okay, so using the whiteboards is something I'd like to encourage you guys to do. Take a picture of the work as you're going. The rest of the class is for you guys to play with this stuff. Those of you who are done, I've got answer keys if you want to check them. Otherwise, start with odds, move to evens. Hayden, rushing on the board, you go to the bathroom.
That was 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Sorry, Hayden, I thought it was a second. You timed it.
Was
On your markets, I go. You may also go to the bathroom, rushing on the board. When one of them comes back.
Mr. Dewey, can we erase that?
Yes, anything on any board can be erased to start a class. If they didn't take pictures of their work, that's not your problem, that's theirs. There's a hand over here.
You're doing it just to say.
Okay, so you have brackets, you have layers and layers and layers of brackets. You have it all the way in. What? There was no back inside that bracket.
Whoa.
So it's more of a this has this 3 minus 2 times negative. Okay, no, you cannot sit and do math. You know what? Sure, why not? Go for it. If you can actually work, Raven, that way, I'll allow it. Just at the end of class, I want you to make sure you put that board back where you got it. Okay, go for it. I like it. You want the answer key. The answer key is right here. 3, 4, 8, 5, 5. Drop a minus sign. Okay, 2 of you. That's it. 2 of you get the board. The other 2 of you have to go somewhere else. Raven, you got the board. You pick who you're working with. Okay, Delcaron, get out of there. No, 2 of you. 2 per board. Yes. 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 14 is not correct. Or I made a mistake, I'll have to check. 15 is good. 16 is good. 17 is good. No? Yes? Yes, 17 is good. 18. Before you do any work on any of the ones I'm circling, always go to the final answer and make sure you're not, like, look to see if you're not missing a minus sign, if you haven't reduced something. I'll double check my work, but I'm pretty sure there's a mistake there. 19 and 20 are both good. Okay, I'm gonna check on work number 18. 6, 7, 8 thirds. So this is going to be 9 fifths minus 11 fifths times 2 times 3 over 2, so it's going to be 2 thirds. Yes.
How do you do number? Like I get it, but I think I'm a bit.
Well, you do the division. You don't need. So for these ones, you don't, because of the way it's written, you don't actually need to put it over 1. Because yeah, this will just be -5.
Okay.
Yeah. And you just add across.
Okay. I didn't know if it was correct.
No, that's it. You're good. So this is going to be 8 thirds, 9 fifths minus 22 over 15. So then this is going to become 7 over 15. So it's going to become 8 over 3 times rather 5 over 15, but 5 over 15 is just 1 over 3, so it's going to be 8 over 9. Yeah, Avneet, your number 18 is wrong. You should show your work on the whiteboard and then take a picture of the work that you've done. Because like having a record of what you've done, like do a bunch of questions together on the whiteboard, labeling them really clearly. It's if you're using the whiteboard, the one thing you want to make sure that you're doing is keeping a record of the work you've done, especially if you might forget how you did it later. Okay, I can delete you. I can delete you. Okay, so
Bracket -5.
where is that one? Sheets. Download it?